There are a lot of twists and turns in many great stories, and those twists and turns cause our characters to develop in many ways to get them to a fitting endpoint in their story. And if they die, we hope they're killed off in a way that is both satisfying to the audience and furthers the story. That was never going to happen in the Erwin versus Armin decision made by Levi in Hajime Isayama's world-famous manga Attack on Titan. This decision, more than any other decision in the show, even more than the ending, split the fan base down the middle. And if you stay with me to the end of the video, I'll explain why. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm sure you're already caught up on Attack on Titan. If you are not, spoiler alert. Now, one thing to know about Attack on Titan before we speak about Levi's decision, I need you to know just how real Hajime made this anime feel. I know I was watching this anime feeling the pressures of this world alongside these characters. Anyone can die at any time. Things like food and resources are extremely limited, and not everyone is who they say they are. This world was extremely immersive. You were behind the walls with these people. You wanted answers for these people, and you were praying for their survival the whole time. I think that is where the opinion of the fan base splits down to its core. I think this entire decision split the fan base due to the fan base's own decision of story versus realism. The people who chose Armin typically argue that Armin was the best decision for the story of Attack on Titan. The people who argue Erwin argue that it was the most realistic decision for anyone who would live in the Attack on Titan world. Now let's dissect these two statements for a second. As a viewer, you are watching this show, seeing these characters go through hell to see the outside world and to experience real freedom, only to see one character who wants that the most, more than anyone I would argue, burned to death just as a distraction to take down the big bad villain. Yes, you would be pissed. Yes, there would be no payoff for the character. There would be no payoff for your investment in this story, and the story now has to be written around him. But instead, that character lives in place of humanity's most clever general, humanity's most useful mind, hooking you into the panic that everyone in this world must feel at the time. Like it or not, Armin living was the best decision for the story. If the writer actually had the story planned out all the way to the end, and don't worry, I will be making a second video on the end of Attack on Titan and how it ended. But if Hajime had this story completely written out, could you imagine how weird it would be in that scene where Eren tells Mikasa that she's basically his genetically trained dog, and instead of Armin sitting across from him is Erwin sitting there with a this is awkward sort of face, like, you know, like just that look on his face, like, is that really gonna have the same tension as his two closest childhood friends sitting at that table? Or in the final chapter when it's Erwin versus Eren in giant form, would that really make sense? Now imagine you're a citizen of Paradise Island. The Survey Corps is returning home. Almost all of them are dead, completely wiped out by a giant ape titan. And instead of your most clever general, the most useful man to humanity, they brought back Armin. Listen, say what you want about Flock, but his reaction was completely warranted. I would be flipping my fucking shit. Levi's decision to save Armin is so completely unrealistic. It makes so little sense that, in fact, there is a chart on Tumblr where people, fans of the show actually, came together to make up reasons why Levi chose Armin. And that is bad. That is bad when a decision a character makes in your show makes so little sense that the audience has to make up a reason for it to be believable why he would make that decision. This show sold us completely for years on how realistic the science fiction world was. How in times of uncertainty, people will revert to animals, and it was gritty and it was realistic. But this, no one would do this. And I think it drew many more people out of the audience out of the story than I think it was intended to, because the manga sort of broke its own rules, so blatantly polishing the plot armor on the people closest to the MC. And personally, I think this scene was a double-edged sword, but genius all the same. If I was the writer of this manga and I knew how it was going to end, and it was going to end exactly the way it did end, I would have chose Armin, no doubt about it. But if I was Levi, living in this world, living in these uncertain times, possibly finding out that there's life outside of these walls, knowing that there might be more war, more fighting, I would have saved Erwin without hesitation. And so would you. Leave a like if you agree with my thesis. Leave a comment if you disagree or agree. But just leave a comment letting me know who you would have chose if you were Levi, and who do you think was best for the story. And if you like these theories and analysis, please subscribe to the channel for more. Have a great day. Much love.